And we are live. Sunday Night with Those Guys. And Sunday Night with Those Guys is sponsored by
Those Guys.
Welcome everyone to Sunday Night with Those Guys.
Irvin? How are you?
What's up, man?
Happy Sunday to you.
Yeah, and all that good stuff like that right there.
What's good, man? I hope all is well. Your weekends treating you nice. You got your drone shirt on. Your computer went to the massage therapist and got a rub down and
well, you know what? You know what, Lawrence? And
You're gonna stop.
How you doing?
Go ahead.
You know what, Lawrence? I had to. My computer was in need of going to the groomer, as you would speak with your pets. For the longest time, and I had some issues with it, and finally, I got it taken care of. I want to shout out to Big Matt out there. You know, Big Matt took care of it for me. He went in and did everything that was needed to do. We were there with it. You know, I went and purchased some parts and stuff like that, and we cleaned it up, and she's looking a little prettier than before, and she's running a whole lot better than before. So, you know, we're working on it, you know, doing some things. But I just want to shout out to Matt. What's up, Tom? I want to shout out to Matt for cleaning it up, fixing it up for me, and get it running better than she was running before.
Yes. What's up, Tom? How are you? I just want to say really quick, Brant, Ariel, Gary, they're having their version of the Super Bowl in Canada, so he stopped in to say hello and give us some support and stuff. What's up, Drone Views Medias? How are you, Tom?
Doing good. How's everybody doing?
We're okay. I actually have to turn up
your mic's a little lower.
Big Matt, shout out to Big Matt, the computer whisperer.
Well, no, you know, Matt, thanks, man. It's a big deal to me because it was at the point where she was like, you know what, I'm not gonna make it there with you, but you can keep on going. I ain't going. So it had to be done. And
explicit, what's good? How are you?
Because I wasn't able to do any videos or anything.
Well, now you can do videos, you can edit software, you can edit your pictures and everything. And I know you've been taking pictures with that Mavic 3, and I know you've been flying with it because I've been with you a couple of times, and I was with you a couple of nights when you were flying. So, yeah, they make all the faces. What's good with you, Tom? You made it across America.
12 days, 2,700 miles.
You must have had so much fun.
Yeah, a lot of, I mean, first time RV owners trying to get it all together, make it all work.
Right.
Okay, so it was an experience. But we went to some beautiful spots, man. Just gorgeous. This country's a gift, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So,
well, you're getting over the learning curve of having it.
No, we got here. We put it in storage for about a week, and then we took it back out again. We went back out into the mountains, and you know, so
now you don't
become, you know, we figured we had 2,700 mile shakedown cruise there, so now we just glide through it. It's a sense of freedom that I highly recommend to anybody that can get into it.
Yeah, my uncle had one for years when I was younger.
Eddie Nunez, what's good?
What's up, Eddie?
Eddie.
It's my sunrise buddy. Yeah, we got to do it from two different places now, bro. Till you get out here.
Yeah, you're halfway across the country. Well, you're all the way across the country.
His sunrise is my 3 a.m.
Yeah, but by the time Eddie's finished, Tom will be just taking off.
You got that right.
He'll be done and packed up already.
Well, I'm saying his sunrise is my 3 a.m. And my sunrise is his 9 a.m. So we're good. We're good. I like that. No, it's we're fortunate out here. We got hit with some snow. We got about 7 inches.
Okay.
But that's up in the mountains above 5,000 feet. They need it. We need it.
Okay.
So we get some water supply from that. But they're going to have some more.
Click that like button,
in
guys,
another
if you
day.
haven't already.
But like I said, this country's a gift. Get out there and do.
You know, I've always found interesting how they actually get those measurements.
As far as which measurements in particular?
Okay, the 7 inches of snow that landed on the top of the mountain.
No. That's 7 inches of snow above 5,000 feet. You know, the mountain you see behind me, that's 11,918 feet, by the way. Okay. And they measure that with GPS, Herman. Go figure. Okay.
Okay.
But with Doppler and everything, they can figure out how much snowfall. But they got an appreciable amount up there. But I gotta say, the sunrises and sunsets here are spectacular to watch.
I'm listening to you guys. I just received a text that someone said that someone was letting me know that my background was a little dark. So I figure, okay, I'll just change maybe a little better.
That's a little better.
There we go.
You guys still look very tiny on the screen, though. I mean, both of you look a bit tiny on the screen.
Purposely, because I'm actually strategically away from the monitor instead of up close on it. Naturally, I would be.
I'm not. I'm sitting about 4 feet back from mine. I got these Luma Cube lights now, and they're pretty cool.
Yes, I hope explicit things work out for you. You said a pipe stood behind the walls in this house.
I don't understand that.
Tom, you
look tiny on the screen.
What happened?
Tom says we look tiny on the screen. I don't know what it is.
Your head, Herman, only comes to the halfway point up on the screen.
Right.
I got a good tool tip for later. Okay, so a little slide.
Okay, hold on. Here we go. Nope, wrong one. Sorry.
That's the rim shot.
There we go. There we go. Tom's tip.
Herman, we got to talk about this, Herman. Okay. You need some custodial help there. You know what I'm saying? Okay.
Everybody's doing it.
Everybody's doing it.
Yeah, everybody's doing it. You know.
What's your tip? Herman has a warehouse in the back. Yes.
Yeah, he's got. I know. Herman's going to play Santa.
Those computer parts. What's that? A 3086 back there? Or a 3090 or 3080?
3080.
Okay. See, he's got. Hey, Draymond, how are you?
The 3070 is being installed.
He's building his Pinky in a Brain supercomputer now. The 3070 is being installed.
Mm-hmm.
You said?
Yeah.
Herman?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, Tom. Oh, it's Tom. I hear him talking about the sunrise and sunsets are like crack. He looked.
Yeah, they are, man. They are.
Listen. I'm sure it's very beautiful out there, and
Absolutely.
I'm sure you guys are going to take the RV out a lot more times. You can probably take it out all year round. Now that I think about it.
Yeah, pretty much so. What's nice is, I mean, we've met some great people too. You know, the community is such a great community. We talk about our drone.
Okay,
community.
what about you're talking about neighbors, I presume, and town?
No, just
people.
I'm talking about the RV community. I took off from one of the RV parks to grab a sunrise shot because we had a cold front coming in that was going to dump.
Morning,
some
Rob. Sue.
But the sun just peeked up between the mountains and the
Welsh Rob
and the cloud line. Rob? People just around just came by and said, "Hey, hello." You know, that's a great way to see things, right? And I had no issue with anybody harassing us, or in fact, most people were very helpful. I mean, when you first start out,
Mr.
just like with drones, right? I mean, we see a new drone flyer, we're there to help them out. Same
Yeah,
thing
of
in the
course.
RV community.
Yeah, see, that's what's good.
Yeah, same
That's
thing in
what's
the
good.
RV community.
The
It was
transition,
really
the
refreshing.
transition wasn't bad.
No, not at all. Not at all. People are very helpful. If you look like you were struggling with something, they come right over and go, "Hey, let me see if I can give you a hand." Everybody waves and says hello. So that's something I got to get used to out here.
You know what? I when I leave New York, I have to remember
Let me
that.
tell you, four-way stop signs are difficult out here. Okay, it can take you 10 minutes to get through an intersection because everybody's so damn courteous.
A four-way stop sign. How are you,
Well,
Wells Rob? What's
well,
good?
see, Tom, the problem, see here in New York, right, is that we have an equal on everything here in New York. So people would wave and say good morning to you, but there's an equal amount of crazy people out there that's speaking to everyone. So they don't know if that's you.
Well,
So
remember it only got worse as technology got better because people with AirPods in their ears, you can't tell whether they're talking to somebody or talking to themselves, right?
yeah, true.
You can't. The term we would use in the public safety industry until they changed it, it had to become more politically was EDP or emotionally disturbed person. Now we call them AMS, altered mental status. But altered mental status applies to just about 99% of the population. Okay, so. Yeah, it's tough. It's tough.
So what
Yeah,
I'm saying is
you'll
that
be all right.
people will speak to you or say hello to you, but
It might not be the people you want saying hello to you.
right.
Okay. Yeah. Well, that's the difference between Brooklyn and Henderson. Okay. Yeah, that's the difference right there. I'll give you that. I'll give you that.
Yeah, people here would speak to you too, but they're not sure if you're that cuckoo.
Good morning,
Well,
Robin.
well, some of you New Yorkers will
Maddie,
get this reference. The wife said to me, "You a little bit homesick?" I said, "Why? What are you talking about?" She goes, "Every morning when you go take a shower, the thing I hear coming out of the bathroom is Win 1010 radio."
Mhm.
Okay, because I
like
have Audacity
like
on the
you're still in
phone.
New York? Like
I
you're
put
still
the New
in New
York
York?
I put the New York radio station on just to see what the weather is and how bad the traffic is in New
Mhm.
York.
Now
Sorry,
you know what's
gloating from the shower.
funny about that, Tom? I grew up with that radio station on in the morning in my house.
Yep.
My father had it on
Give us
every.
22 minutes. We'll give you the world.
Yep, that's what
Hey,
it was.
you got traffic. You got traffic and weather on the ones.
Didn't one of those guys
You, if
retire a couple of years ago? From that?
Yeah, a few of them
Really?
did. In fact, one passed away not too long ago. John Montone, I think
Wells
his name
Rob
is.
says good to see you, Tom.
Yeah.
Hey, it's good to see you, Rob.
Hey,
I've been
TJ,
following some of
how are
your
you?
exploits there, Aviano aerials. Yeah, and damn, who can keep up with Ray Kelly these days?
Well,
Oh man, I'm
Jesus,
not even
man,
trying.
well, he's the biggest millennial in the game right now.
I'll tell you, the man never stops.
What's
Okay,
up, Michael Blades? Welcome back. Welcome back.
He's out there though.
Yeah, Ray Kelly
Ray Kelly.
is I can't keep up with him, man. He's got more energy and travel hours, flight
well,
time.
I'm trying
I
to
know.
see if I can
What's
arrange
up,
to get down to
Mendez?
that South Florida meetup
Ray Kelly's 19 all over again.
all
Well,
over again, man. All over.
those
Hey, man.
guys will be there at the Florida meetup.
Oh
I
yeah.
it'll be my first time taking all my drone equipment on a
Herman, you're
plane.
driving Lawrence down?
No, we're not driving, bro.
I'm flying.
No, we're
You
not
know what?
driving to Florida from New York.
I drove to Florida once.
No, thank you.
I'm not doing that.
No, thank you.
I used to do it when I was a lot younger, Tom. There was a gentleman who lived on my block, contractor, and he used to get cars in New Jersey. Remember, you could go to New Jersey and get a car for about $2,000 to $3,000
Autoland
at
of New
auction.
Jersey. Yep.
Right. So he would go there and get the cars. And in Florida, in Pensacola, Florida, they allow the teenagers to get a loan if the parents co-sign. So that $3,000 car was usually about a $4,000 or $5,000 car.
By the
By the
time you got
time
it down there with
over.
the extra mileage on it.
And he used to listen, he used to get 2 cars at auction. And what we would do is we would leave on a Friday night and we would do it in anywhere from 24 to about 28 hours.
I don't,
Stopping to take a leak, and then we'd sleep for 2 days.
I don't want that
Well,
car.
I'll give you a horror story.
I survived the summer doing that, dude.
I had a buddy of mine doing nonstop from Florida to New York, and only stopped quickly for gas.
Mhm.
And unfortunately, he wound up getting a blood clot in his leg,
Mhm.
and it
Wow.
wound up taking his life actually. And
Wow.
it was because, you got to stop, man. You got to make sure. Like one of the rules I followed coming cross country was, it's kind of a rule in the RV world. You never travel more than 300 miles in a single day,
Uh-huh.
and you never have back-to-back travel days. So what we did was, we took off from Pennsylvania up into tri-state area. We drove about 300 miles down to Cumberland, Maryland. And so basically we did 150 miles in the morning, and then took a break and another 150 in the afternoon. You always want to get into a spot before it gets dark. We pulled into Ashland, Kentucky, and it was pitch black. We pulled into a state park. You talk about a wooded area, and then trying to figure out where to put this RV.
Mike
That
Roach.
was that
Hey,
will
Mike,
teach you right away.
long
Travel
time.
during daylight hours. Okay, but look, have a plan. Always have a plan, guys.
Yes, you do. You do. You do have to have one.
And have a
I
backup
was a
plan.
lot
When you
younger,
have a
Tom.
plan, have a backup plan.
I was a lot younger, but at one time he would come up here and get 1 or 2 cars, and we would go back down to Florida. And I survived the summer doing this, going into the winter. Every 3 weeks we would drive 1 or 2 cars down, and
Yeah.
it's not an easy ride. Trust
No.
me. There were times I could do it, and there were times that I slept for a day and a half afterwards.
Well, then you got to watch your speed traps. I mean, coming through the state of Virginia is one giant
There was
speed
a
trap.
town, there's a town somewhere along the border of Georgia going into Florida. 'Cause Georgia's that thin, that big. You see Welcome to Georgia on 95, and by the time you finish reading the sign, it feels like 10 minutes later you're saying Welcome to Florida, but it's not. But there's a town on the border of Georgia going into Florida, and one police officer mentioned to me, I noticed you stop here every time you come through, and I notice you have a different car. And he says, I noticed that they have temporary plates on them. And I was like, well, he could be warning me not to stop here anymore, which I did not do. I kept going through that particular town. I didn't want to give him a reason to stop me, pull me over, anything like that. Because I was always told, be careful on the road, especially when you're traveling by yourself in towns you're not familiar with.
Absolutely.
But anyway, we got a little bit of news here. We actually have 2 Parrot Anafi stories tonight.
Whoa.
Okay, but the first one that we're going to do is I have to show a picture because we did a story on this drone, and when they were talking about launching it, and the Anafi AI, you remember the one that looks like a bug? This one here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, well, from what I understand, they are ready to start shipping at $4,000 a pop. Now, keep in mind, this is one of the only drones that can look straight up.
Well, that's good. I'll put it right next to my
Okay.
$4,000 M3, right?
Yeah.
Right, but what, Lauren?
I'm not
They
feeling
said that
the
this was
patch antenna. Hey,
yeah, but
go ahead, Herman.
$4,000. They were saying that they were ready to ship to consumers. That this
Yes.
thing was for mapping and
Not really consumer drone.
yeah.
The story we had did once before was they were coming out with a drone. Anafi
It's
came
like
out
a
with
can opener with
drone
news.
that was supposed to be specifically used on a 4G/5. At the time, only 4G. Now
Uh-huh.
the story says 4G/5G. Now, Anafi did an AI drones in January. The new drone will start shipping this coming January with prices from $4,000, excluding taxes, available from Parrot's leading resellers, wherever that may be. I'm sure B&H Photo and a few
Well,
other,
that's what they mean.
and those guys will have,
Yeah.
but they are introducing their full 4G light connectivity service, meaning if you have a Parrot Anafi, it will find this particular 4G network and use it to fly. The specifications at that time, they claim to be the only omnidirectional obstacle avoidance system, but we know that's not true now. 48
So-
megapixel camera, 4K at 60 frames per second videos, and 32 minutes of flight time. All
Well,
in an
32
airplane
minutes of
weighs
flight
under
time. That's all you get off of a $400 battery?
$4,000 drone. Yeah.
A $4,000 drone with a $400 battery. Rob, how bad do we go through batteries, man? That's the price. So it's like buying a Mini every time you need a new battery, right? You buy a
Pretty
Mavic
much.
Mini Fly More combo for the cost of the battery on this Anafi.
Is it?
Yeah,
Pretty
it's
much, but they
$399 for the
claim-
battery.
How much?
They claimed
Rob C says this is a $400 battery.
A $400
And the
battery.
props are $80 a shot.
Really? Well, you know that overhead picture of it. It looks kind of like a can opener with wings on it.
Yeah, I can't get it looks like it should be
Go
able
back
to
to that
dice and
overhead shot of
slice.
it, Lawrence.
Okay, hold on. I'm gonna pull it back up now.
Aesthetically pleasing? Nah. But
1 second.
it
I'm pulling
depends
it
if
up.
it's functional.
Well, it depends on the angle you look at it from.
Ooh.
Okay, you see that shot right there? The battery is the handle, and look at the can opener right there.
Yeah, right.
It looks like a can opener with wings
Right here.
and propellers. Yeah.
I was thinking a multi-blade pastry knife. Same thing as you roll across the dough to make your little croissants. Okay.
Put it right over the top of your can and
Yeah.
Well, we all know that this battery is all the weight of the drone, because
Pretty
most
much.
batteries
Well,
usually are.
well,
But
it's just like the
I don't
Mavic
like
3.
this feature here.
What,
If they
the
have a
vent?
mesh net, well, the reason I'm saying is because you guys have computers. You
Right.
guys know what fans do. They
Mhm.
either blow air in or blow air out. Now,
Mhm.
whether it's blowing air out or what, this should be protected with a mesh right here. I'm sorry. If I can reach in and touch that blade with my finger,
I
something's
don't
wrong.
know. Well,
I guess I'm not flying it in the rain.
well, here's the thing. Here's the thing. They're saying that this is the first of its kind and it's omnidirectional. Now I don't know what that thing on it on the front there, it moves or whatever. And the
Well, your obstacle
Well,
avoidance
it-
turns
the
with
sensors on it.
your
Huh?
obstacle avoidance. Hold on, I'll pull the pictures back up. But your obstacle avoidance
Right.
turns with the camera. Hold
Right.
on,
I get that.
I closed the folder by accident, but I can pull it up. Just give me a few seconds. My problem with that is when your obstacle avoidance turns with the camera, you can't fly in a direction. Stop it. I hate when you click on something and then it copies it.
That's not always necessarily true, because if you look at DJI, they've figured out how to use less sensors that picks up more surface, more area.
Here we go. Here we
It's
go.
being done.
Well, when you limit yourself to the placement of your sensors, where you don't have full coverage, where I really don't see on this any side sensors or anything. And look, some of my shots are going to be shots as I roll.
Right here.
Okay.
Right here.
Is that a side sensor?
Is
And
it?
it looks
I
like
don't
you got a
know.
bottom sensor. So the thing on top maybe is not a fan, but an actual sensor.
Right, that's what I was saying.
No.
They're saying that
No.
first of its kind in omnidirectional. They say it was the only. The
Yeah,
first
that sounds like
omnidirectional.
that's a sensor on top, not a vent fan.
That's what I was trying to
It
figure out.
looks like your vent is
There's
the.
no way in the world this is a sensor. It's a fan.
You can't
Yeah,
say
that
that. I
looks
don't
like a
know.
vent. Let's pull in
It
close.
does look like a fan to me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
looks like a fan.
What,
Well,
a
see, that's what I'm
first time in the
saying.
world you put a fan in a drone? No, I don't think so.
Right, but what I'm saying is, you see how it's looking up.
Right, these sensors are looking up. See?
Right.
Well, those
Now,
sensors, like
because
Lawrence
the
was
drone is
saying,
actually looking up.
well, like Lawrence was saying, those two. See, I originally thought those were the FPV cameras, okay,
Right.
and
Right.
that the imaging camera could be operated separately. But it
Yes,
appears
I would
those
hope
are
that.
two sensors, and they,
Yes.
like Lawrence said, follow the same direction as
Mhm.
They
the
follow
imaging
that
camera.
same vertical. They follow that same vertical pitch.
Right,
because
they're
if-
limited if that's the case.
So is
If
it?
you-
Yeah, but that look,
Hey, here the camera's
I
turned
increase my
sideways.
altitude without pointing my camera in that direction quite
Wait a
often,
second.
don't you?
Well, see, hold on.
Oh yeah,
Here's
wait a
the
second.
camera
They're facing
turn.
forward, and the camera's turned to the side.
Right.
No. Yeah. But you're at the same attitude.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly.
I don't know if
So,
that's an
yeah.
actual sensor there as well.
Or
Yeah.
a beacon light. You don't know, right?
You're right, Tom. Because then if this thing is actually
You know what? Those are sensors. They're looking
Yeah, so-
here, right?
So
And they're
that bothers me.
because if you want to go, because they're talking about photogrammetry and mapping and stuff like that, and
right for 3D map.
there might be a time where I want to catch a shot as I'm elevating or descending, and I don't want to be looking up and down when I'm doing it.
So yeah, I agree with you. So, but let me ask one other question. And I don't know that anybody actually has the answer yet because there's still some details to follow.
Right. You know, and I'm
But
having-
are those sensors capable of LiDAR? If those sensors are capable of
No,
LiDAR, that's
that I would not know.
I don't know.
And that I would
because
not.
if this drone is touted, okay, for mapping, right?
Specifically, yes, they're saying she's
Yeah.
compatible with Pix 4D Cloud, most 3D mapping software. She's compatible with, but they prefer Pix 4D.
It just means their software. They'll allow you to interface with the software.
Plus
Right.
to this
They're
drone.
into the industry standard again.
But here's the plus to this drone, though. This drone is open source. Now, check this out. The mobile app's core is open source, granting developers the ability to execute code in the Anafi AI itself, which means the SDK provides access to all flight sensors, including obstacle avoidance sensors, occupancy grids, and internet access.
And so that you know, DJI has provided the same access to some of the large software houses, such as Verizon Skywood, right?
Mhm.
Skywood is a Verizon company. Skywood has complete access to all elements. Of
Hey, Max Air, what's up, Rob? See, sorry, I didn't see you guys come in. I was in a different window. Bill, Coast to Coast, how are you? Hey, you want to mention that giveaway? You guys click that like button, please, because we are about to mention a giveaway that Herman's having every Wednesday up until Christmas, and the last Wednesday before Christmas, I'll be giving away my very first build, my second build,
You have a
FPV drone.
Do you have a video coming out this week, Lawrence?
I know, but I'm going to put one out. I'm definitely going to put one out. It is Sunday. I'll probably have a video out by the middle of the week, between the middle of the week and next week, Monday.
Okay, well, let them leave the comment on your video.
Right, but if you want to talk about your giveaway that you're having this Wednesday coming up, and congratulations to who were the two winners from your Wednesday's giveaway, if you recall.
I have them written down. Everything is.
Night Train was one. We gave away a range extender for
down here.
Mavic Air controller, the Mavic 3 standard controller. Anyone who had that particular type controller, we gave away a range extender and also an SD card holder.
I got it right here. All right, I got it. Night Train and Mark Fisher.
Yes, yes. We're the winners of the giveaway. We're sweet.
Mark
Love
Fisher,
Michael Blade loves giveaways. Well, Michael Blades, hey, what's up? Eat more possum. What's
Mark
up?
Fisher got the range extender, and Night Train got the SD card holder.
Okay. All right. Cool. Night Train and Mark. Thanks.
So what are you giving away this time?
Thanks, Maddie's Drone World.
What am I
And
giving
this
away this
Wednesday.
time?
Hmm?
I don't think. I know I have more range extenders. So I'll give away another range extender and something else. I'm trying to find something else to give away. You know what? If anybody's got the smart controller or the RC
Those
Pro,
are actually. Go ahead, Herman.
or the RC Pro,
Yeah.
I have a lanyard for you.
Okay, cool. That's what's up. Thank you, Rob C. Rob C sent me a picture.
And you know, the last day when Lawrence gives away the drone, we're giving
Perception
away a
system
pair of
relies on a pair of identical
photographer's
cameras.
gloves.
Hold on, I have to pull these pictures back up because Rob C just put me on to something that I need to point out to you guys. Those on the Anafi.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Rob C. Thank you so much for that tidbit of information there. Okay, you see this picture here blown up, right?
Mm-hmm.
These are sensors, obstacle avoidance. This is your FPV slash camera. Right
Mm-hmm.
here, see this little circle?
Yeah.
Right there is in a camera, and there's another one on the other side.
Mm-hmm.
And they're using these cameras for, what is it that he said? The perception system relies on a pair of identical cameras sharing the same pitch axis, horizontal. So those are the horizontal obstacle avoidance cameras, I'm guessing.
Right.
And these little things right here are not, which would kind of make sense. But thank you very much for that, Rob. I was like,
Well,
wait a minute.
what we're still saying
Still
is
have an
that
issue.
we're still saying that when that drone uses those front sensors, when going up, the camera is facing upward. I have it, unless you have a picture of it where that neck comes down and faces forward, so you can get a forward shot as it's going up or going down, and not facing up or facing down.
No, I understand exactly what you're
Right.
saying, Roman.
Still more to learn on this particular
Yeah,
drone.
wait and see.
Yeah, it's a wait
You
and
get
see.
one?
We will.
You get one
And
of
it's a
those,
wait and see if
can't
they
open it?
actually come out and sell it. Okay, so it's
This
Is
is
it gonna
true,
have
too.
that
They
same?
Yeah.
Is it gonna have that
So the
same?
side, right?
that
Those
same
Rob C says
joystick?
those are the side sensors.
Is it gonna have that same controller that they had before that flips
Yeah.
up like the PlayStation?
No, they showed it. Well, they showed it. It's basically an expandable and put your phone in it. Don't think, if you're going to
They're using the
provide.
patch antenna.
I
They're
still have a
using the
problem with
patch.
these companies not putting out a controller, a beefier controller for their.
They're using.
Can't call this a
You know what?
consumer drone.
I
This is
agree
not a
because
consumer
I had a
Right.
problem
For that
with this.
price.
I had a
Well-
problem with this also, this patch antenna system, because
Well,
if
you
you're doing,
can. Yeah, go
but if
ahead.
you're doing building inspections
Mm-hmm.
and you're inspecting a 40-story building, now you have to aim that patch antenna up at. What you understand what I'm saying, as opposed to an omnidirectional antenna. That's all I'm saying. I'm familiar with patch antennas. I use them with FPV. I know what they can do and what they can't do. And unless they have a dual
Okay, that
antenna
is.
system in here, maybe they have an omnidirectional in the top. I don't know. But right now, it just looks like your average patch antenna. I just thought I'd bring it up.
Hard to tell.
That's all right.
I mean, hey, Mr. JZRC, how are you? Private Island FPV, how are you? Welcome to the live stream.
They did a good job of trying to make it look pretty, but
Pretty funny looking.
Yes, and I'd like to apologize to
giant
those
can opener.
who see a commercial now, but I had to insert one. Some of you will see a commercial, some of you will not.
Okay.
All right. This next story has to do with Elon Musk and a company called Unleash Live. But before anyone says who is Unleashed Live, I've gone to their website, and I want you to know that I had no idea companies like this existed, but this just well, I heard, but this kind of confirmed it. Unleashed Live is a company that specializes in taking your visual data and being able to transfer it in real time to anywhere you want in the world. And in other words, if you're doing an inspection of a mine, inspection of pipes or something like that, here's what they have to say. Unleashed Live is an AI video analytics enterprise solution. We take vision from any camera to combine it with computer vision to deliver actionable data in real time so that your organization has immediate insights to drive down cost, improve productivity, increase accuracy, and improve safety. And they are teaming up with Elon Musk to how I have to get to the story here to control
Well, they're going to
drones
leverage.
real
They're going
to
to leverage
control
Skynet.
drones in real time.
Yeah.
What's
They're
that,
going to
Tom?
leverage Skynet. They're
Right.
going to leverage Skynet, low altitude,
The
a
Starlink.
low orbit satellite system that Elon
Right,
is,
because everything is about control, the better control of
well,
your system
it's a
and better transmission throughout your system. That's what
it's about low latency
right,
broadband
and being
connectivity.
able to transmit that information quickly.
Well, I wanted to put these stats out there before we got into the story. I want you guys to know every time SpaceX goes up, they send up numerous amounts of satellites. Right now, present day, they have 1,600 satellites in orbit, and they plan on having 42,000 encircle the Earth because Elon Musk is persistent on wanting to supply the world with internet. Now, I think that that's a good part of the job. That's good in the whole nine and everything. But there are pros and cons to this story because they've already done tests in real time. And by accessing Starlink's network, I'm going to show you actual video of Starlink, actually website where you can track their satellites and even track when they'll be passing over you. And maybe you can see them, maybe you can't. But by using low latency connection, Unleashed Live's AutoFly software allowed them to fly a drone and control it in real time and to actually be able to do certain tests on infrastructure and a few other tests that they were doing. Now, I find this a little scary, and maybe it's just me, but think about it this way. If you have an operating system and a drone, Tom's in Arizona right now. I'll give you an example. Tom's in Arizona right
Nevada.
now.
We'll get it. We'll get
With
you
this system, with this Unleashed Live system, if
One of
Tom
these
has
days.
software in this drone, I can actually tell Tom to set up his drone and launch that drone, or have Tom launch the drone and control the camera. This operating system is offering all of this. You have 3 different setups. One setup is to have the pilot control. Hold on, there are 2 things that enable
pilot.
data off the drone.
Local pilot operates drone.
Right.
Remote
Or
camera operator
pilot can just
handles
launch.
camera.
The pilot can just launch and they will control the camera. Or third option, the drone can be launched and everything by itself. So
so let's go back 1 second. Let's go back. So the first option is local pilot operates camera and drone. But the data that's being captured by the drone is seamlessly uploaded and remotely available elsewhere
else in the
with low
world.
latency, right? We'll call it near real time, right? Because we're down to millisecond accuracy here. Okay. The second is where the local pilot operates drone and remote camera operator handles the camera, and still the data feeds through Skynet. And the fourth option is it doesn't take off by itself.
The third
it's
option.
launched by a local pilot, but then a remote pilot takes over both operations of the drone and the camera. So
allowing
those are
him
your
to
three
fly
drop
beyond,
options. Now
allowing
let
him
me
to
tell
fly
you.
beyond visual line of sight.
So
This is
don't be afraid of this, because you're about 5 years too late of being afraid of this. Actually, you're about 10 years too late,
ooh,
because
What's the
how do you
Hermit?
think Predators and Reapers are flown? They're
ooh,
not flown by local pilots. There's
this
a
is
Hey,
local
Don, great
ground
tower
crew
here.
right,
that launches it, but the Predator and the Reaper are flown from an Air Force base just north of me.
right, right.
Okay,
But Tom,
and
this
I'm
is how
talking
they
about over in
did.
Afghanistan.
But yeah, but Tom, but this is how they did the with the caves there when they put the use the lidar with the drones inside of the cave. This is the same thing, Lawrence. It's the same thing.
Well,
The guy was
it's
able to get the
leveraging.
information transmit somewhere. The local guy launched it, but the guy maneuvering it and everything was somewhere else.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, I wanted to
What?
show you guys
Yeah, same
something
thing.
here because at one time you used to be able to see Starlink crossing the skies if they crossed in your hemisphere of the world. Now they have two different lines encircling the world. They call them Starlink trains. This is one right here. If you see the straight line right here, that's one Starlink train. And then if you spin the world to where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Here it is. Is this the same one? No. Here they go. You can see the two separate ones. There's one here, one Starlink train here, and there's one Starlink train here that's 1,600 satellites. They plan on adding 42,000. Now, what's cool about this site is if you can pinpoint pretty close to where you are, like this is North America here. I happen to know this little section is Long Island. Okay, so if I were to pick the New York City area, they actually have observation stations. There's a Starlink satellite right there passing over. Here's another one passing over. All of these are controlled by Starlink. And if you click on it, it gives you the Starlink identification number, the NORAD, what altitude it is, its activity, as to why you would want to know this stuff. Now, when you calculate this, it didn't work right for me, but supposedly if you put your home spot in your computer, okay, it should calculate when it's going to pass over your area. Like I would have to zoom in here to the New York City area.
Mm-hmm.
Their map isn't too detailed, but say I zoomed in here. The closest ground station is in Litchfield, Connecticut.
Okay.
And the antenna diameter is 5. Okay, that's just the lookout station. But I'll put the link in and let you guys play with it. I believe you have to have your home point set on Google Maps or something like that for it to work. But you can actually calculate when.
Well, actually, this service, this
It'll
is
be
in
passing.
service right now. So I know firsthand as an RVer with Skynet, you wind up getting broadband access almost anywhere in the country now.
Well, see, the objective of Elon Musk and you
Well, there's a
doing
beta out right now.
is like I
that's
said,
coming out.
he not only plans on trying to supply internet to the world, but companies like Unleash Live want to be able to control different sites. You may have a base office in Washington, in the Washington or Maryland area, and need to control something or do an observation somewhere. You tell your pilot to go there with a drone. And like you said, Tom, or like the story says, you can have 100% control, 50% control, or they can have 100% control.
Well, let me tell you where. Let me give you a scenario where this really is completely necessary and functional today. We have power lines that stretch the entirety of this country,
Yeah.
and to inspect those, I mean, there's so much AI available now that you can automate the inspection via drone with remote piloting. So you can have a drone take off from a little silo adjacent to power infrastructure,
You see what Max Air
and then be able to fly, depending on the range of that drone, be able to fly 100 kilometers out and 100 kilometers back. Okay.
What's up, Geeks, Vana? Did you see what Max Air put?
Sure.
if you watch my Night Labs vid, you can see the satellites that are
Yeah.
up there.
Yeah.
If all you need are a decent pair of binoculars or basically a really clear night. From what
It's approximately 340 miles high,
Mhm.
is what we're talking about.
which
That's
is
where these
considered a
objects
low
are.
altitude. Those
That's low
satellites
altitude.
are.
Yeah.
Roughly, what, 547 point something kilometers, basically, would be about 300 miles. Um, so, so this is stuff. Think about it. You could have these drones strategically located, so you have two power main infrastructures in remote areas that could be 20 miles apart from each other. But a drone takes off from this one, flies, the AI observes and monitors with different types of sensor technology along that power grid, and then lands at the next one.
Mhm.
And these things just hopscotch. And the next flight, when it takes off tomorrow to inspect it, it takes off and flies back the other way. And so
Right.
think about these being co-located with these substations and being able to go out and survey them
How
with
are you,
great
Sean?
regularity. So that is, that's a game changer in that world. And
Well,
also, I mean, to have these strategically located at you talk about wind farms. When we cross the panhandle of Texas, man, the highest concentration of wind farms I've seen so far, thousands upon thousands of them. But you know what? I could see
well,
these wind farms. What I couldn't see was any connectivity from. I went through stretches of highway where we had no cellular access, which I found
I could understand that.
pretty amazing, especially in today. You figure
In today's
there's going to
time,
be a tower every
well, it's
quarter
funny you
mile.
say that, Tom, because in the story it also says there's a live map on the internet where you can see satellite coverage across the world. Now,
Yeah.
satellite around the coverage around the world, and according to this, only covers 30 to 40% of the world. Like you said, there are dead spots. But with Elon Musk network up there with 42,000 drones, they will be able to cover between 99% and 100% of the globe with internet or some kind of cellular.
Until certain governments try to shoot them down.
Well, of course, come on,
So
you think
we shall see.
you
But what I
honestly.
was saying to you earlier, Lawrence, was if you're afraid of, like, I saw somebody posted in the chat, Skynet's watching you, guys. That they've been watching it for years.
No, I'm
What
not
you
worried
really
about
have here
that.
is, think about it. I
My-
told you of a story last year when we were up on 95 in State Route 95 up in Nevada, and my wife had seen a military drone fly by,
Mhm.
and then we saw, I think when we got done counting, there were 27 of them we spotted. Okay, they were all
Hmm.
taken off from Creech Air Force Base, which is just right adjacent to 95, and there's just a series of these containers, these tractor trailer containers lined up, but they all have AC units on them. That's actually the cockpit. So these things are actually flown from remote locations in battle zones, in combat zones. So if you think about that, Creech Air Force Base was flying drones that were actually operating in Afghanistan. So
Yeah.
if you're talking about low latency, the U.S. government already has that latency issue addressed.
I'm more than sure of it. I'm more than
Think
sure
about
of
it. A lot of this stuff comes out of organizations like DARPA. Otherwise, we wouldn't have internet today, right?
Well,
Without the likes of DARPA.
according to this website, Unleash Live operates primarily from Australia and the United States, with small operations in Europe, the United Kingdom, and Asia. In addition to its agreement with Starlink, the company who's in close partnership with. Okay, now check this out. What's even more interesting about the story is not Starlink, Unleash Live's operating system and to be able to control drones beyond the visual line of sight work with the DJI and Skydio drone platforms. Says
Well, those
the
are the two manufacturers they
Navigator
partnered with so
Enterprise
far. Yeah.
DJI Mavic 2 Enterprise versions. I guess the
Enterprise
SDK,
Advanced, they work
the
with.
DJI Matrice 300 RTK. So
Yeah,
those are
and
things that are out there that you
they're
may want.
also working with Skyward. They're working with another communications company, okay, which is a Verizon company. But they also are working with. Keep in mind, they're working with CAA and the FAA to develop the criteria to leverage that for beyond visual line of sight. So they have some good partnerships lined up here, and you know they're making some good strides.
It's going to happen.
It's
Too much
happening.
money. It's too much money invested.
It's happening. I mean, you look at the power industry, right? Right there, the savings to them alone with this type of technology is enormous. So you can't.
Well, the reason why I say it's gonna happen is that the whole thing what you just mentioned about the visual line of sight, that whole visual line of sight thing is because of what they envision for what's going to happen in our skies with
Yeah.
what's to roll out with when UTMs and all everything is in
And you
place.
need virtually
working.
almost zero
So-
latency.
Right. That's
Well,
why
you know,
you go back to the beginning of when I said, talking about when this whole conversation started about these things, the cameras on these drones and the camera capability wasn't there. The battery capability wasn't there.
Mhm.
These things are now starting to come to fruition. The cameras have gotten better. Sensor capabilities with them have gotten much better. The batteries, the capability, everybody's coming with a new system of being able to move something. And everybody's working on the next greatest thing. So,
yeah.
Well, I wanted to
it's going to
point out
happen.
it's going to happen because it's happening now. And I wanted to point out also one last thing in this story. Starlink, present day,
Mhm.
okay, provides coverage across the North Sea, both Ireland and Scotland, and large wind farm
Hey,
assets,
Bob.
as well as across the Gulf of New
Yeah.
Mexico with its thousands of oil producing platforms. Now, what I want you to do is I can show you right here better than
Okay.
I
Yeah.
can tell you.
See,
But you
tell
wanted to
everyone.
know well, where is Starlink already? Monitoring places in a fixed orbit. All of these spots are Starlink. These green areas are being monitored in the world.
See that
Not
line?
to mention, you still have the Starlink trains traveling around the world. So where there's a green spot, these are spots being continuously monitored already.
Well,
And are
those are where
still-
there are stationary
Yes,
geostationary orbiting.
those particular Starlink satellites are stationary and supplying internet and or whatever purpose they are there for. So I figured this map would be pretty good. Like I said, there is a way for you to calculate the actual pass of this train here. There's one here. Oh, and here's something also. When I started the live stream, both of these, this one was down here and this one was coming up on this angle. So this one here is going down around the poles, and this one seems to be going out into the Atlantic Ocean. But you can zoom in and actually see, not in real time, it is delayed, but all of these things are moving. Here's the first one in the train right here, low altitude, stable. It has the identification number, all of that, and it shows the trajectory if you zoom out where it's going, where they're headed. I just thought the site would be a little interesting for you guys to have something to play around with, because if you calculate it right on a clear night, like I said, here in New York City, if I go to New York City, I can almost calculate when it will be passing over the Long Island area, which is this little shape right here. But like I said, there's the closest listening station. All of these satellites, which I did realize also, seem to be linked through Starlink as well, or have some kind of, well, those are the ones stationary over the United States, so that makes sense.
Okay. Got to be
Well,
in the grid.
a little, huh?
Got to be in the grid. Got to be on the
Mr.
grid.
J's RC. What the hell is Lawrence talking about in layman's terms?
So do you want to know how fast the train is traveling, by the way?
What's that?
That you talked about the stationary ones, of course, they're
Yeah.
staying in a geospatial orbit, geostationary orbit, I should say. The ones that are moving, guys, are moving at basically 7,613 miles a second. That computes to roughly 17,000 miles per hour.
Wow. Now, I'm
Typical
watching.
speed in space. Typical
That's
speed in
crazy.
space.
Go ahead and go ahead and I'm just going back to this because since we've started the live stream, this Starlink train has been heading this way, and this one is already on this hemisphere of Antarctica, passing through, heading in this direction. See, it's kind of funny because it'll be coming up here, past Australia. So,
Yeah, exactly, Sean. Yeah, the Gen 2 sats,
southeastern
daisy
Australia.
chain.
Yeah. It's a fun site to play around with if you want to know where these satellites are. Every time you hear Starlink or Elon Musk is launching more satellites, well, his objective, like I said, is to
Well,
have
he,
4,000 of
what's
them.
great, Lawrence, is he owns the company that's putting them in space also.
I know.
Okay?
So nobody can
So
tell him.
he's handling the supply chain rather adeptly there. Okay?
The second gen sats can daisy chain much easier for keeping dishes online. Sheesh, I fly drones, but now I feel like a scientist. Well, Mr. J's RC, the story that
Broadening
we
your horizons.
had to do with the fact that they want to be able to control a drone. If I'm a New York-based company and I have a satellite company in California, I can have one of my pilots go out there and do inspections, and I can control that drone using Starlink from here in New York. Or just control the camera. Tell him to go up to 75 feet, turn 3 degrees left or whatever, and I control the camera.
Well,
So
truthfully, you're right, Lawrence. But the most important thing is the data, the quality,
The transmission
of
of
the data
data.
that's being transmitted. That's the most important
Transmission
part
of
of it.
data in near real time. Okay?
And for all of
That's
you
the
who
key.
wonder what all those other dots are, those are all also satellites.
They're planned satellites.
Right.
42,000 he plans on.
But Elon Musk's main objective is to supply free internet to the world. For you have catastrophes that happen around the world, and once cell phone towers go down due to earthquakes, tsunamis, or whatever.
Well, no, you have. I'll give you a scenario.
But to think about it, to be able to pull out a cell phone or a tablet and be able to connect with the rest of the world. I mean, for what price? I don't even want to talk about that. But
yeah, but you have a situation where so in this country we built out something called FirstNet. Okay, FirstNet is a
planetary defense system recovery one drones. Draymond, that's another live stream in itself.
Yeah, please. Somebody called Bruce Willis. Okay.
Yeah,
Didn't we have one that just passed or is passing within 3 million miles of us?
They already hold it last month, the month of November. They already launched a satellite that will be traveling 6 months to a satellite with a nuclear warhead on it that is supposed to hit a meteorite so many miles, 6 months away. Okay, and the objective in doing this is to see if they can split it or change its trajectory by hitting it.
Let's have it knock out Venus and completely screw up our solar system.
Or they're getting too far carried away.
Yeah, I said call Bruce Willis, see if we can get him on the horn.
And Sean, stop starting rumors. You know how people are. He goes, they have small aliens living in each satellite.
They're offspring. They're not aliens. They're offspring of Elon Musk. Okay, they're aliens. Right? Because I still believe Elon Musk is an alien.
It's probably his DNA up there anyway. If there was, right?
Who knows?
Okay, we got another story, but this one, it has to do with Parrot.
Sean, the square one is so much smaller. The new dish for Skylink, it's much smaller. than the original. But it's hard to get equipment. That's the big problem.
Mhm.
So soon they're going to allow people to sell their equipment.
Of course, there's Bob Casey says, I don't think it's ever going to be free internet. Well, Bob Casey, to us,
not
it
here
may
in the
be,
U.S.
but I'm sure our country or whatever providence you live in will be paying a certain fee to Elon Musk. I'm more than sure of it. But think about this: when there were several catastrophes in Haiti and other parts of the world, like we're in Kentucky right now. There is no cell phone service there except for what people
Kentucky and Arkansas.
Right. So could this help out the news and people?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what it's all about too. You got to think about it. Is connectivity is our ability to communicate, like I said, in near real time or real time. In situations of public safety. That's why we have a system called FirstNet in this country, which is backed by AT&T, and then Verizon has what's called preemptive service. But these are spectrums of that service. See, what happened was back in the day when cell phones first came out, remember the briefcase, or you had the big honking cell phone. Those things were only supposed to communicate us across a section of the spectrum. But
Raymond,
when
you're
they were
right.
putting them out, they were allowing them to broadcast across the entire range. And what happened was when there's a disaster situation, okay, and the first responders arrive on scene and try to access that spectrum, they can't because it's saturated. It's saturated with the media. It's saturated with the public, all trying to make those cell phone calls all at the same time. Hence, we went from 3G to 4G. 4G increased bandwidth. Then we came out with 5G. 5G is an enormous amount of bandwidth, but at such a short range. Okay. And that's why you really only see 5G in metropolitan areas or areas of high population. Okay. Because that 5G, that the ability to broadcast 5G is very short in range. Okay.
It is. Well,
but in dense areas, in dense urban areas, it's perfect because it can handle that density. Okay.
Well,
just like if you're out in an RV and I use this a lot now because I've been doing it, but if you're remote working and or you want to upload some videos, you know what? When you upload those at 2 a.m. in the morning if you're near a town. Okay. Because near a small town, you might have pretty good bandwidth, but not in the evening, time because everybody's using it.
Or on Sundays.
Okay.
Sundays
when 2 a.m. in the morning, most people are asleep. That's when you use the bandwidth. Okay. But look, bandwidth is premium these days, and that's what he's striving for. He's striving to provide a level of accessibility. Okay, because we've proven this right during the pandemic, that accessibility to bandwidth is
Sean's
the great
in rare form
equalizer.
tonight.
Okay.
Sean, 5G is made by aliens living in the Starlink satellite. Stop it,
yes,
Sean.
his offspring. Exactly.
But now listen, before we do this next story, I have to point out I have to point this out before we do the story. This is in no way, shape, or form any intent to talk bad about the police or the way people are being taught how to fly drones, but this is a story that needs to be out there. It has to do with the Parrot Anafi USA, UK flyaway. And the story says poor police operator training. Now, you can't blame the officer for how the story goes down, but to make a long story short, it says this is a comment that someone left. Whoever signed this police officer as safe needs their training organization looked into.
Okay, let's back up and provide a foundation.
Well, okay, here's the story.
Okay, the basis of the story.
There was a police officer in the United Kingdom that they were doing They were doing a police search operation. The pilot became concerned losing visual line of sight with his unmanned aircraft and attempted to activate the return to home function, in which case the drone did not return home and was found the next day 5 kilometers away after performing an automatic landing. Now, this, like I said, the story is that they were out performing a search operation, and to make a long story short, they found out that the unmanned aircraft had not acquired a GPS signal prior to the flight, and therefore did not record its takeoff point, rendering the return to home function ineffective. The UA lost connection with the controller and drifted into the wind and was located, like I said, 5 kilometers away, blah, blah, blah. Now, it goes on to say that it was being operated at night above a quarry in a rural area, and the support of police doing a search operation. The temperature was 3 to 4 degrees Celsius. I don't know what that is in miles per hour, but I mean in Fahrenheit. But things like this happen, and they go on to say also that it wasn't the pilot's fault, it was who trained him. Because it sounds like the pilot got there and was in a rush to take off and fly before they could acquire satellite.
Okay, so with experience here, speaking from experience.
Yes,
okay,
yes. That's why
helping to draft major process and procedures that bound one of the largest fire departments in the world in their drone operations. I can tell you quite clearly, there's a lack of standard operating procedures or enforcement of those operating procedures. So, you know, pilot error, it's a combination of things. First off, there was nothing but good intent here. We understand that, okay?
Right.
But there has to be enforcement of a procedural operations. And the reason for that is
there, Tom?
we take an oath. We take an oath on the job.
But
to
Tom,
do no. Yeah, go ahead.
Tom, Draymond says that it was lack of pre-flight check.
Yeah, this is process and procedure. Process and procedure.
But hold on, this is why I said you can't exactly blame the officer because
yes,
he was
you can.
Yes, you can.
Stop right there. I've got to stop you right there. Individual responsibility. No, you take an oath in those offices as an officer, as a public safety provider, as a first responder. You take an oath to do no harm. Okay? Pure and simple. You do harm. You do harm when you operate something and don't have the skill set to do it. You don't pull a hearse tool out of a locker on a piece of fire apparatus and grab it and shove it into a door frame. You don't do that until you're properly trained.
Here's the problem. The pilot had completed a 5-day basic visual line of sight certificate course.
He hadn't flown the requisite number of hours.
With commercial training, 2 hours flight time on a DJI Mavic, okay. He did not fly again until February 2021, which he undertook a 33-minute training flight on a Parrot Anafi, USA, and assessment with an instructor. Now, herein lies the problem. He was not trained properly. And because of that, he cannot be blamed for what happened.
I don't agree.
How do you figure he wasn't trained properly?
How do you make those assumptions? You're making an assumption there. I'm telling you from a base of experience how training goes in that first responder community. Okay? You go through a series of training. You have to maintain certification. Okay? You have to maintain
he would have never took off without GPS satellite. Plain and simple.
Well, he took off without.
True.
Well, that's not true. Okay. He took off without following. Look, just being a hobbyist. What do we tell everybody? Take off, hover, wait until you get GPS lock. Otherwise, you don't have a home point. And guess what? He didn't have a home point.
You don't take off and hover. You don't take off until you have satellite lock.
No, well, in some instances, you need to take off in order to get, okay, that home point acknowledgement. Okay, you need to hover at anywhere between 3 and 30 feet to get that GPS home point lock in. Okay,
Rob,
that
see,
is a
right,
standard. That's a
remote
standard
pilot
you
command
follow.
is always one responsible. My
That's
problem
correct.
is, had he been taught the proper way, he would have
How do you say
off
he
the ground
That's
wasn't
not
in a
though?
true,
rush.
Lawrence.
You're
That's
making
not
assumptions,
true.
Lawrence. Sorry,
That's not
I
true.
gotta disagree with you 100%.
That's not true, Lawrence, because you don't know what he was taught. You weren't there. I wasn't there. We don't know that. We can't make that
Herman,
assumption because of the simple
But
fact
Matt,
that
most
people do
don't
these
wait
type
long
of things
enough
all
to
the
get
time.
GPS lock. They just take off, and if
You fly
feel
with guys that
you
fly
get
these
the
drones every
GPS.
day and don't do it.
But listen to what Matt put. Most
We
people
always talk about that,
yeah.
but we can't
yeah,
talk
I
about what
agree
Matt
with
is
Matt.
talking. Well, Matt
I
knows
agree.
what
People
I'm
do it all
talking.
the time. Doesn't make it right. And in a public safety environment, you don't do what everybody else does and say you get a ride on it. No, he has individual responsibility first and foremost. You're responsible for yourself
He made a
before you can be
mistake.
responsible for others. Now, he failed to follow SOP, standard operating procedures. Okay?
Yeah.
He failed
Made
to
a mistake.
leverage,
That's it.
he failed to do a pre-check. He failed to do an in-check. And he probably didn't even do a post-check.
Now watch
Okay?
this, Lawrence. Now watch this. One of the
Yeah.
things that they talk about, number one things that they talk about when you go to study for your flight, your 107, your part 107, is the attitudes of pilots.
Yep. Yeah.
I agree with you, Matt. Like Matt
now
just
look
said,
at that. Now he
it's
was
not my
just in a
fault.
hurry to take off.
Look at what Matt just said. It's not my fault. I hit the World Trade Center. My drone flew away. Blame it on DJI.
Right.
No, I'm sorry. Okay? I don't agree. You take an oath as a public safety provider to do no harm. Okay? You're there to help, not to harm. And he lost. He lost that one special ingredient.
He was in a rush
to know when to say when. I've seen guys on the job who have been told to grab a piece of equipment, stop right there and go, sorry, I haven't been trained on that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you swallow your pride because you don't want to turn around and hurt somebody by operating something you don't have a skill set in.
Well, you
Okay?
know, so Tom, also that happens to happen a lot on many different levels because like I said, I work in construction. We deal with things I'm an electrician. We deal with a lot of things that they want this to happen, but that can't happen right now until this happens first.
We
right?
have a rule.
No, and there's certain things that have to
right,
happen.
exactly. We have a rule on the job, okay? Before I left, one of the rules we put on the job, Rob, you're a sweetheart there. Okay,
Thank you, Rob.
Rob's buying donuts again.
Thank you, Rob.
Okay, so one of the things on the job that we put in place was a remote pilot in charge can countermand the incident commander on scene. If the incident commander on scene says, hey, drone pilot, I want you to fly your drone over here.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
The remote pilot in charge can say, sorry, sir, I can't do that. Okay? With no repercussion. Why? Because the RPIC is in charge of that aircraft.
Right.
And by him flying in an area that would be unsafe could potentially bring harm to others. Okay? So individual responsibility. And you, look, one of the things that happen in public safety, and those of you that are in that room, whether you're LEOs or firefighters or EMS, you train. Military too, all the time, right? When I was on board ship, general quarters, okay, man overboard drill, damage control drills, constantly. And you say to yourself, why? Until that alarm goes off for real. And then you just do what you've been trained to do because it's second nature. Okay? So this individual failed, okay, to follow proper operating procedures. There's no doubt that department has them in place, okay? But just having them in place isn't good enough. So yes, supervision has to be held accountable too. You know, one of the charges on our job is failure to supervise, okay? So if your guy screws up, guess what? You get hooked up too.
Failure to
So
supervise.
guess what happens? You don't allow the people below you to screw up because it can impact you also. So I'm not discounting the fact that there's superiors in the line of fire here also. But that remote pilot in charge was just that, in charge.
Okay,
Okay.
You said how long did he have training? Said Lawrence, the
How
guy?
long did he
Because
have the
it's not-
training for?
because-
Okay, hold on 1 second. I can scroll up to that.
Because we don't know if he flew drones before getting into this or what, or did he see this and have to take a
Well, he
liking
took
to
a
it
course. He took
and-
probably the
and he got in on the
course.
ground floor of this shit
His
somewhere.
training was very minimal. I'm trying to find exactly where it is. And okay, here it
It was the
is.
first, they first started this up where he was
Pilot
working.
completed a 5-day basic visual line of sight certificate, course with the commercial training organization, blah blah blah, accruing 2 hours flight time on a DJI Mavic UAS. He did not fly again after that until February 2021. When
So he had a lapse in that time where he didn't retain those skills.
After that time, he took a 33-minute training flight on the Parrot Anafi, an assessment with an instructor.
Right.
Now, here's something that I had scrolled down to, and I wanted to read this because this is something that a lot of people don't know when you lose visual
Line of sight.
or whatever. Although the RTH return to home function did not operate as the pilot expected, the unmanned aircraft was still capable of responding to manual control inputs, although none were recorded after the initial attempt to activate return to home, which meant, and we've seen this, Herman, but Herman was right there with us. I think Big Matt was there. Jose's drone took off. And he says, yo, where's it going? Where's it going? And he goes here and hands me the controller while his drone is flying away uncontrollably. You know what I did? I took controls of the stick and I flew it back manually. This guy obviously did not have enough experience to know that you could still do these things.
Well, like I said, you have a guy who,
and he had visual.
They happened to start this thing up wherever he worked. And he got in on the ground floor of this, and he's not a seasoned guy at flying drones, and this job got him. He's doing this for his job, and he didn't have enough experience at flying because
usually
most people,
I agree. You're right. Usually,
and you're right, required. Here also, following his initial training in 2020, the pilot's currency had lapsed in an ordinance with the operator's procedures. He undertook training and assessment flight in February 2021 to reestablish flying currency.
God doesn't
he had
fly.
Virtually no experience under his belt. Right. And like I said, this story wasn't to talk.
But one of the things you do in a commercial course. So we'll say the course he took would probably be equivalent to a Part 107, right? So remember, with a Part 107, you don't even have to be able to fly a drone. You just have to be able to take a test.
Take a test,
okay?
like school.
But what's one of the things on the test? Okay, it's aviation decision making. Okay, what don't you do? Panic. What don't you do? Hand off your controller. What don't you do? Shit your pants. You don't do those things. You pay attention. You stay within the realm. And you figure out what your course of action is. And this is what happens with training. This is what happens in the public safety sector for training. You train, and you train. And when you're done training, you train some more. Okay?
Tom,
so that it's second nature.
But like you say, right, Tom, the training would have taught him that before he even took off, he had a contingency plan if anything this had went wrong, or if this went wrong, or if that happened. And a lot of times, if you are a drone pilot, you know that sometimes you might lose visual reception.
Hey, Logan Carpenter.
Flicker in, flicker out, but you still have manual control.
Don't panic. This bot
you don't panic. If worse come to worse, you go up, but you don't panic.
Right.
let that thing
Anyone
come
click on
back.
that link of Brandis Kelly, that's a bot. Unfortunately, it's pornography or an explicit sexual material. Do
Where?
not click on it. I just got rid of
I
it.
just missed it. Where? Oh shit.
No, you
Which
have,
one?
as of late, you have bots coming in hoping
Oh.
that you click on the link or their name.
And they're
And
not even hitting the like button when they do that? Shame on them.
listen, who gives a shit?
Oh, hit the like button. I can
I
only hit
thought
it
this would
once.
be a good topic to talk about.
It
'cause we
is.
discussed this
Well,
and
you got a reaction, didn't you?
and I've had it happen to me. Like I said, Jose handed me his drone. Now this officer was also in total line of sight of the drone. So when it started drifting away, I would have thought, well, I'm a different drone pilot, but I would have thought to at least try to maneuver it to see if you could control it. The report goes to say he hit the return to home button once and it did not work. And a few seconds later, I need to get it word for word. So I'm not. Okay. The return to home function was selected after 3 minutes and 53 seconds of the flight. It was then selected a further 4 times. The unmanned aircraft lost connection after 5 minutes and 53 seconds of flight. So within that time frame, he never thought to try and just push the throttle up or turn it or do something. And then, like we discussed, it was lack of training. So
Well,
I
again,
I'm not.
if he followed SOP, he would have done
Yes.
several things.
yes,
He would have checked his compass. He would have checked his IMU. He would have established his home point. Those are basics. They're in any flight pre-check. Okay? They're going to happen. They have to happen, otherwise you don't take off.
right.
Pure
Well,
and
see,
simple.
if this does not happen, you can't learn from it. But I didn't want people to think that I was doing this story, and I hope it didn't come across as me bashing or picking sides. But this is general knowledge, like you said, Tom, like Herman said. It's general knowledge that should be known as a recreationalist as well as a hobbyist. I mean, a professional or whatever.
So let me ask one question here, and this is something that is very serious. I want you to take seriously. There is a requirement, okay, even in Part 107. It's even with the trust exam. It's even with the recreational flyers. The one thing you do not do is fly over a public safety incident unless you are authorized to do so. Why is that? And the simple answer is we don't want you to do further harm or cause further calamity within that incident, right?
Right.
Okay. So if we don't want you doing that, you better believe we don't want the public safety providers, the first responders, doing that either, right? Okay. So that's why training is so important in the public safety realm.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, when it comes to leveraging this technology. This technology is life-saving. It's life-saving, hands down. Okay?
Right.
I've seen it firsthand prevent life being lost. Firsthand. Okay? And if I've seen it, it's happened. If I've seen it a few times, it's happened hundreds and hundreds and
I've
hundreds
seen,
of
yes,
times.
I've experienced
Okay.
it. We've experienced
Per
it
month. But
I've
so
had it
this
happen
is
to
one
me
thing
personally.
you want to make sure it's followed. And when it's not followed, there's repercussions. Number one, luckily, the aircraft and its artificial intelligence and its programming saved the day. It didn't crash into something. It didn't crash into somebody. It did a controlled landing someplace. Great. The technology worked. Did we slap DJI on the back for that and go, good job, guys? No. We glossed over that part of it.
Big Swan says, why do you think the U.S. doesn't make you take a flight test? To me, it seems a basic.
I agree with you.
They did that already. They called it the trust.
Well, the trust isn't even a flight test.
And if you remember, they did it with the Mavic Pro series. They had that questionnaire. In order to fly, you had to answer 5 to 10 questions.
But you don't have to fly. You don't have. See, here's the point. You don't get you don't get an ASEL or an ASCC, aircraft single engine land or sea certification by just taking an exam. You still have to spend hours.
Yeah.
You gotta actually fly in the aircraft. You have to go through various scenarios. You don't have to do that in our realm. We take a Part 107 exam and we're commercial drone pilots.
You're right, Tom. I think the time when they do that, I think there'll be, if that ever happens to that point, there might be an issue with them being sold at Best Buy.
Well, no. You know what? They'll keep being sold at Best Buy. But if you want to use it for commercial purposes and you want that actual Part 107, I think at some point in time, there's got to be flight hours. There's got to be time that you have to present the skill necessary to pull off certain
I understand what you're saying.
such as being able to safely take off, being able to safely land. What do we train private pilots to do? Safely take off? And then after we teach them how to safely take off, we teach them how to safely land. Okay, because without those two bookends, we don't have any survivability.
I totally understand what you're saying, but here's the other side to that. And then here comes that guy that bought his drone at Best Buy 10 minutes ago, whizzing by.
Money. Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying?
I got you.
Here goes that guy. Here goes that guy that bought his drone at Best Buy 10 minutes later, whizzing by.
Like Sean said, they have to take a full test there in the UK. They have to show full operational manual and post-test.
You have to do a physical flight test in front of an instructor before getting your test.
Yeah, and you get more points. You get more points for flying Addy.
Recently happened. The same thing recently happened in Niagara Falls. They said the Matrice was put up before the Coast Guard went up. It happens. It does happen, but you don't hear about it, and people need to hear about it more.
Lawrence, all you're saying is the same thing that was said years ago. There was a time where people rode horses. Then somebody came out with an automobile, and people were like, wow, what's that? And this guy, people were like, whoa, what is that thing? And this guy's moving like 2 miles an hour, a little faster than the horse. Than a horse walking normally. So now here goes the car moves a little faster now to come and improve the car. So now what happens? Local municipalities come in and they come up with this driver's license and registration and everything. And then they start making money off of this thing. That's the same thing what you're talking about. That's all you're talking about. The same.
Yeah. Look.
You're taking what was at one point where a guy had the right to be able to build this thing and come up with this. And if you had the ability to do so, you had the right to be able to get this thing. Yeah. Now what they do is sell it back to you as a privilege.
Right. Sean, that's
all Sean and them are talking about.
Rob put it perfectly. The Part 107 here in the United States is only to teach us how to interface with national airspace and try to stay out of the way of manned aviation. And that's all this Part 107 is.
Right, because like I said, you're picking
this. It doesn't bring any skills.
But you got to remember, you're flying this thing as a 107 pilot, and the guy bought his at Best Buy doing the same damn thing and doesn't have to have any training.
Yeah. No, agreed.
There definitely needs to be more regulation, like in Canada and Europe.
Well, you're advocating for the same thing that I just talked about.
Right. If you had to take a test, but
you're advocating for the same thing that I just talked about.
Yeah, Best Buy would like
when municipality takes the same thing that you already have the right and the privilege to be able to purchase, and now implement something upon you to be able to use it. Now, what do you?
Even though you bought it, for more, you're not allowed to use it until you get.
Right, you're actually advocating for more. What Sean and them are doing, what Sean and them have, I mean, it's nice, but I really don't advocate for more. I do advocate for education, but I don't advocate for more.
Well, and here's my counter to that. Here's my counter to that.
I understand that.
Here's my counter to that.
One says the GBC does that too, and emit covers airspace, but it also tests that we can fly too.
That you can actually operate the drone with some sense of skill. Right. Necessary. It's just like Herman. I have enough money to go out and buy the biggest Hummer on the planet.
Mhm.
Okay.
And that-
But I don't have a license to operate it. Oh, what do you mean, man? I just spent $97,000 on this beast.
And
What do you mean
no
I have to
way
go get a
But,
license?
Tom, we have,
It is
okay, once again, like I said, we have
necessary
that
evil.
system, what you're advocating for, and we still don't have people who can operate these things. So
Thank
now
you.
where are we going with this?
Jay's
Are we just
RC.
advocating, are we advocating for municipality to make more money off of us? Or are we advocating for safety?
My first concern is the safety of others. Okay.
Because that's not
And
what
there has to be
transpires
a
from
way.
these type of things.
Well, it has to some degree, Herman. It has. Yes, there's still a revenue generating portion of this. And realize something, without that revenue generating portion of it, you wouldn't have roads to drive those expensive vehicles on.
Oh, well, see,
Okay?
but the thing
So part of this, part of this is,
but on the person who's actually operating, no, they're getting worse and worse and worse. And what Lawrence was talking about before about being taught and what people are being taught, Lawrence and I both were in the car and we're going down this two-way street, street, double yellow line. And we're watching the car in front of us, a driving instructor, have that young lady make a broken U-turn on that block.
right, which is against,
which
which contradicts with the driving manual in the state of New York. I'm not disagreeing with you. Look, you're only as good as that one that taught you, right? Because if that one that taught you bad skills, you are going to have shitty skills.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, each one teach one also has a level of responsibility to it. Okay. If you're a freaking moron,
you're 100% right
then
about
please,
Tom,
refrain
Herman
from
and I
teaching
couldn't
others.
believe ourselves. He told
I
her
couldn't believe it.
she just got in a car. You could see she hadn't been in a car more than very long or had much experience, Tom. And
I agree,
he
Sean.
make a broken U-turn across the yellow lines. No,
Yeah.
if you're taught wrong, if you're taught something wrong,
You're going to think that's gospel.
yeah.
You're going to think that's okay.
That's why
Until
I said,
that-
if you want them to
until that-
learn it,
Until that
put it in the
police
form
officer
of a
pulls you
rule.
over. See, in New York City, you're not going to get pulled over for a broken U-turn, okay? Unless you hit 3 cars in the process, okay? But when you're out in bum stuck wherever, okay? I'm trying to control my language. Sorry, it's been a while.
You know what I said?
It will be a rude awakening when that officer pulls you over and goes, "You just crossed the double yellow line," and they go, "No, I was making a broken U-turn."
Right,
I don't care what you want to call it.
Right.
Okay, you just got yourself 3 points on a moving violation and a $600
want to hear
fine.
that. Exactly.
Okay? Right, exactly.
You
Okay.
know what's sad about that though, Tom? Seriously? New York City police will let you make that broken U-turn or U-turn anywhere.
Right in front of them.
Will harass you for the bus stop. 2 inches in the bus stop.
Well, look.
That's another story in itself, right?
There's usually nobody in the car when you're in the bus stop, but if they got to pull you
Sure
over,
there is.
Listen, guys, it's been fun, but we got to get the hell out of here. I want
I'll have to
Herman.
wait next time for my tooltip then.
What happened?
Well,
Gotta wait
here
next
we
time for the
go.
tooltip.
There you
Gotta
go.
wait. Gotta wait.
Okay.
All right, that's time for the
We're
tooltip.
listening.
Mr. Jay's RC is going to be in Long Island soon. He's going to let us know, keep us posted when he's in town. Listen, it's been fun. It's been real. Don't forget to check out Herman on Wednesday nights. He's having another giveaway on Wednesday night. Now, we have 2 weeks before Christmas. And I want to point out, on the last Wednesday before Christmas, I'll be giving away one of my FPV builds. Okay, she is Crossfire ready, so if you fly analog, you'll love her. Put the word out there to some FPV guys. She handles 6S, but flies better on 4 or 5S.
Well, hold on a second, Lawrence. Are you putting out a video before the live stream?
Yes,
I think you're
before the last giveaway Wednesday, I will definitely be putting a video out. Whether I
Make
can
sure you leave your comment on that video about the giveaway. So if you leave in your comment on the on Lawrence's video, love your flying, but I love giveaways.
What's up, John?
Remember, everyone, love
Hey,
your
wait a
flying,
second. Wait,
but I love giveaways.
wait.
Yes.
There should be a rule: no more than 2 wins per season. Otherwise, Ray Kelly's going to win again. You know that, right? Okay. I mean, we saw him more.
You
He
know
won a
what?
small little drone, and then he won this mega drone. I mean,
True. Well,
when you
I'm
coming
gonna-
out to Vegas? Because I
I'm
want to
giving
hang
you-
out next to you when we hit the craps table there, Ray.
5-inch 5-inch crossfire system. I've taken this thing up to a quarter mile. It's a
Well, that's not
freestyle
what's going
drone.
out. That's not what's given away this Wednesday, right? That's the
No, this is on the last
That's
Wednesday.
the one.
last
That's the
one.
last one.
Last Wednesday
and
before Christmas.
the pilot's gloves.
Along with some pilot's gloves, so you can peel the fingertip back and still
The
fly.
PGY Tech pilot's glove.
Yes, yes.
That actually has several fingers that you peel
Yeah,
back,
these
right?
Was my
fingers.
second bill.
3.
Yeah, they come out. You can pull them out.
Right.
So you can-
Unlike shooter's gloves where you only have the one finger, this you get.
All right,
Now,
Mr. JRC.
These are gloves you can continue to be a pincher with. Okay.
right, you can pinch
Gotta
with
get
them.
outta
You
here,
can pick
guys.
with them. You can do whatever you want.
You
You
do
can
whatever
make
you
a
want,
scratch.
That's right.
All right, well, don't forget to check out Herman on Wednesday nights. This Wednesday coming
Good
up.
deal,
we're
Ray.
gonna
I'll be here.
Have him. He's getting ready. We're gonna have another giveaway. We'll have two more giveaways.
We're probably gonna have another one of these
range extender.
range
extenders.
extenders, and we're gonna have
People can
the
use it.
lanyard for the
the
RC
controller.
Pro or the smart controller.
Travel with Rosie. It's actually a great basher drone. It was one of my second builds, and I can tell you she's been through a lot. I actually put LED lights on it, so as you hit the throttle, they actually get brighter. So she's designed for freestyle. If you crash, the antenna bends over. Everything, she's ready to go. But we need to get the hell out of here.
Really go.
We appreciate you all. Thanks for coming in. We thanks for all the super chats. We appreciate the support. All the above. Be safe, fly safer. You guys got anything to say?
Well,
Peace
we'll
and
see
love.
you again on Wednesday. We'll have some new fun stories to talk about.
Okay, there we go. And we're gonna end this with Sunday Nights with Those Guys is sponsored by
Those
Yes.
Good night, everyone.
Take care, all. Stay safe.
Good night.
Hey, Fly Zone.